Yeah, wow, through the mist. Personal paranormal experiences back on the air with nobody watching, but yeah. Yeah. How's it going? Wow, actually doing personal paranormal again. It's been a few months, I think. A long time. So hurry up and go, run out and let everybody know that we're doing it so they can go tell their stories, okay? So I'll just sit here and wait while you guys go tweet it out. See, there's only 5 people watching. Yeah, it's not like the other channel. Maybe Sunday's not a good night, right? Maybe Fridays. But yes, on this channel, you call in and you tell your story of something weird that happened to you. I don't know if that's somebody from my other channel subscribing. I have no idea. Yeah? What's going on? Yeah, anyways, the number on the screen is active right now. Hey, look at there's Lynn G. How the hell's it going? Sassmere. Yeah, it's all this channel is if you have a story that of something that happened to you that's you can't explain. I don't want to hear the classic, oh, I was sitting there and then out of the corner of my eye, you know, just let's hear the crazy paranormal stories, all right? Because everybody has those things that have happened that they can't explain. All right? But if you have too many of them, oh yeah, like this one time, you know, if you have 50 of them, forget it, okay? They're way more credible when it's just those one-off experiences that people have. Like, they're not even believers, really, but they have something that happened that they can't explain. It could be anything. UFOs, some kind of weird premonition, you know, that type of thing. You know, like I've one of the ones that I had, not the, you know, everyone's seen the one about my brother with the balloon, but you know, another one would be like when my uncle was dying. He had cancer, and he was really suffering And my mom told me that, and then I went to sleep that night, and then about, I think it was something like 3 in the morning, I woke up and I felt happy, like peaceful, because I knew he had just passed away and wasn't suffering anymore. So I woke up everybody, and told my brother, and then we all went back to sleep. And then my mom called the next morning and said he died at night, and it was 3 in the morning. So, it's weird shit like that. I mean, I can't explain why I felt the way I felt. It's not like I knew something, but I just, I don't know. I don't know what that was. I don't have an explanation. So something like that. Yeah. Well, I don't know why you'd be buffering, because I've got green. Let's see. Yeah, the live stream is green, and I have no drop frames, so it's on your end. You got to go get that fixed. Here, somebody type something in. Let me see if it shows up. I guess I could do it. Yep, okay, there we go. I'm not really sure about that, Chad, but whatever, There's a hell of a lot more. I've heard way more than that. That's just kind of something that happened to me. What do you mean? Oh, you're on the... It didn't even beep when you came in. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I want you to be on mute until I unmute you. That's what I want to do. Okay. But it didn't even beep when you came in, which is weird, because I have it set to do that. So, alright. There we go. Here's the first caller.
Hello, Gray. It's Michelle Nicholas. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, good. Well, I have a very interesting story for everybody. Back when I was 13, my great-grandmother had passed away, and she wore this cameo, and it had been passed down through generations. And she always told me that before she died, she would give it to me. But she died suddenly, and they buried her with it. And a couple of weeks later, she came to me in a dream. And in the dream, she was, took the necklace off and put it around my neck. Well, that morning when I woke up, the necklace was on my neck.
Weird, but you didn't have the... Where was it prior to that?
They buried it with her. When she was buried, she was wearing it. But she came to me in the dream, and she actually put it on my necklace, on my neck. And when I woke up, the necklace was on my neck. I ran into my mother, and I'm screaming,
That's crazy.
And I told her what happened, and she even looked at the back of it, and it had, the names on it, the last name of the family last name, and the date that it was originated, and that it was from the time it was passed down. So it was the actual cameo. So she actually came and put the necklace on me.
Or, well, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not really sure how you'd explain that one.
It was, yeah, exactly. I was trying to explain it myself, and nope.
Yeah, well, see, everybody, that's a perfect example right there. Those weird things that happen that you can't explain. If you have too many of them, I get skeptical of you. Okay? Like, oh, yeah, well, God, I've got this one time. Oh, yeah, this other ghost, and then this one, and this one, and this one. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, yeah. But, yeah, it's ones that have stories like that are, just one-off things that they really don't have any explanation. And I mean,
Right.
so you guys still have it today and everything?
Oh yes, it's actually in a safety deposit box.
Hmm. And what's on
Yeah.
What's on it?
It's a cameo. It's the
Yeah, I
you
know
know
the
the cameo
cameos,
necklace
but
with
what's
the
on
ivory.
it? You know.
Hmm?
Yeah, but what's on it? You know, a cameo is just a necklace of it's got a face on it or something or what?
It's got the ivory lady on it. I can't remember.
No, they're all the same. Okay, I saw a picture of.
Yeah.
So they all have
Yeah.
that. Oh, I see. Okay. Huh.
Yeah. Yep.
I wonder why they call it that.
Very.
Is that like the name of the lady or something? Or
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I really don't know. I just knew that growing up, I loved that necklace, and I always told her. And she says, "Well, I'll tell you what. When it's time for me to go, I will give it to you." That's what she said to me. I didn't realize it was going to be after she died. Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty.
it was very. It is, yes, it's made of shell, but it's a real ivory in it.
Well, what did your mom say about that over the years? Is it one of those things you guys
It
bring up
was,
all the time?
yeah, it was just one of those things that we were in awe about. Pretty much, like you said, you can't just sit down and explain it, and it just, it was just what it was. It was just kind of like, one of those things.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at this. It does seem like when you type in cameo, they're all these older ladies with sort of a big hairdo, and then it's
Yeah,
inside of.
exactly.
I see.
Yeah, it was my great grandmother on my mom's side, and
Hmm.
let's see, it was my great grandmother, and her mother gave it to her. Oh, well, my great grandmother's great grandmother gave it to her mother, and then gave it down to her mother, and gave it to my great grandmother, and so
Wow. Well, there you
yeah,
go. Well, that's one of those stories that you'll always have, and nobody will be able to tell you anything other than it has to be something supernatural, right? I mean, how does a necklace
exactly,
go off of
exactly,
her and end up on you, your grandmother,
yep,
right?
exactly,
So,
exactly.
all right. Well, I got another call here, but
Okay,
thank you for that story. It was a perfect story. All right.
thank
That's
you.
exactly what I'm looking
All
for.
right, we'll see you
All
in
right.
chat.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. 845, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi. Am I doing this right?
Well, I don't know. But
Hi.
you got to turn off the audio. You can't. You have to listen to the phone that you're using, not the computer or
Yeah.
the video. Okay.
Right. My name's Talia. I think I'm one of the younger, one of your audience, but my story, I remember it so clearly. It's not one of the crazy ghost ones, but I remember I had to be 9, and I woke up when it was just beginning to get light outside, but it was still dark, and it was just a little light coming through my window.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up for some reason, and I saw this face, this face just in front of me, and it was I can't even explain to you. It was scary, and I was definitely
Well, that would be
scared,
scary.
and it was
Yeah, I think anytime you wake up and you see a face in a window, it's
yeah. Oh, it wasn't in the window. It was kind of just floating.
Oh, well, that's
It
even
was
worse.
just in my face, and it was green, and it was scary. And so I closed my eyes because I don't want to see that. And it was the strangest thing. It was there when I closed my eyes also. So I kept on opening and closing my eyes, and it was just there. And I was
Wow.
so scared. I was
What did it look like?
petrified.
What did the face look like?
It was. This is gonna sound so stupid, but it kind of looked like George Washington, like something you'd see in a dollar bill. It had that type of old kind of face, and I remember just like blinking, like opening, closing, and opening and closing, and like the face was still there, and I was so scared out of my mind.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that I eventually fell asleep.
How long?
But
How long? How many?
it was,
How
yeah.
often? How long did it stay there for?
I have to like for 5 minutes at least because I can see it right now. Like it was so scary.
So how did it go away? Like what made it just one
I think
time?
it faded.
No, it did. Huh.
It kind of faded. Yeah, it didn't like go away. Like it faded away.
What time
And
of night
was
was
like
this?
looking at me.
Or just the middle of the day, or what? When was this?
Oh no, it was at night, like right before the sun came up. Like it wasn't light outside at all. It was dark, but it was,
okay.
like little crack of dawn. So I could see like the corners of my room ish.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw this like green, like I don't even know, right at me screaming, right?
That's pretty
but I
cool.
couldn't because I was like scared.
Right, but it looked like an old guy. Was he moving around, or was it just sort of a static, like a statue almost?
It followed wherever I looked. So it was kind of like, you know, when you look at a light and then you close your eyes and it's like it stays there.
I was just going to say
like
that. I was just going to say that. So like you move around, but it was a clear face, right, the whole time.
Yeah. It was like a George Washington. I was like, what am I looking at? And it was like terrifying.
And it, but when you kept following you around, but let's say when you did, what was the longest amount of time where you kept your eyes open and kept seeing him? For like 2 or 3 seconds, or do you just keep blinking on and off?
Oh, I kept my eyes open for a little bit, and what am I looking at? Like for 30 seconds at least, I'm like open my eyes. I'm like waiting for it to go away. Maybe it's a dream or something. But I close my eyes, and it's like there in the darkness. Like
in that 30 seconds, did it move at all though? Like the lips move or blink eyes or anything like that?
No, it's like it was like a solid picture, and no, it never showed up again.
That's crazy.
The only other little thing was when I was sleeping one night. Like I don't know if this happens to other people, but as a kid, like I don't know, I always heard my name being called like in a whisper, like Talia, and it was like I think it's like a normal thing. I've talked to people about it. They're just like, yeah, your mind plays tricks. Like sometimes like you hear whispers, but this one time, like I heard it so clearly. And it was like, Talia. And I was like scared. I was shaking. And I saw my door was like crossed open a little bit. And I thought it was my brother playing a joke on me. Sometimes he does that. But I was like so convinced that I heard it that I got up and I went to my brother's room and he was like passed out cold. And I stayed up the rest of the night because I couldn't fall asleep. But it was just like those weird things where like I heard it so clearly. Someone whispered my name, so like, what happened? I don't know.
Yeah, that's another one of those ones. Crystal clear face.
Yeah.
And it was just staying there. And when it went away, did it sort of fade away at the very end, or did it just like poof, it's gone?
No, it faded. I can remember just like blinking, and then all of a sudden like it faded away until I couldn't see anymore. And yeah, I don't know. My brother was saying the same thing. You'd hear me being whispered.
Did you ever see it again or anything?
No, that was the one time.
I didn't think so. But wow, well, good story there. It was a good one.
Well,
what was that?
Yeah, hold on. I don't have a lot of paranormal experiences. I would love them, but I just don't.
Okay, well, that's one of them. Yeah, that's what I was saying. But if you tell too many of them, then people are like, oh boy. You know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really a big, I mean the people like I don't believe in psychics that much. I mean that are trying to solve crimes, things like that. But
yeah,
I believe that we have there's things that, like my story that I just told at the beginning. I don't know if you call that psychic or whatever, but it's something that I experienced. I didn't go out and try to find something. You know, it just came to me.
Usually it's people that are looking.
Yeah.
Or my favorite videos are watching like psychics like get called out.
All right. All right. Well, I got another call here, but appreciate you calling in with your story. That was a good one.
Yeah, thank
Interesting.
you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Have a good
Enjoy
one.
your stuff always.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks. All right. Bye. All right. Didn't that sound? That sounded like that one girl that was on our crime channel. What was her name? I can't remember now. All right, 304.
What's going on? How are you tonight, Gray?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
All right. So at the beginning, you said something about people that don't believe. So something happened to me, and I chalk it up to how fragile the human mind can be when they're going through something. I don't know. I don't really think. I don't know. I'll just tell it. Anyway, so let me preface it. I was like, Cairo, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like 7 years old. My parents got divorced. And as I was rounding into 8 years old, my grandma died. And like we were super close. And my mother, my brother, and I lived in a house that we were renting. And my mom had gotten together with my current stepfather. And he was going through electrician school to become a journeyman or whatever. My grandma died. He was at school one night. I was taking it real bad. I woke up in the middle of the night. We had just moved in there, so my brother and I had shared a room at this point. And I woke up and like I seen my mom in the doorway, like telling me to come here, like motioning with her hand. And I told her she was scaring me. And then like I realized it wasn't my mom and it looked like my grandma. So I put my head under the blankets, kind of scared, and I looked again and she was gone. So I wanted to say something to my mom about it, but I was afraid that she would think that I was like making light of the situation. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I seen grandma, you know? So anyways, like a week later, I brought it up to her at breakfast, and I was like, the other night when Tim was at school and she just started crying and was like, I seen grandma too. And it was the weirdest thing ever. And yeah, that's my only paranormal story. I don't know if it sucked or what, but that happened.
Yeah, huh? Well, something you remember. Nobody can tell you that it didn't happen, right?
Well, actually, I'm not going to do this because she would cry, but my mom could totally call right now and back me up on it.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, but nobody, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't even matter if you had somebody to
Oh,
back it
yeah.
up. It's like you saw it, and so that's what you're always going to know it. It's sort of like when somebody sees a UFO or they literally see what they think is Bigfoot out in the woods, you know, and they saw it, and you could sit there and tell them 1,000 times, you know, oh, you didn't see that. Well, but they saw it, so there's no way you can't tell them. I mean, I know what my balloon story and that one I just told you are things that actually happen, and so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if somebody told me, hey, I don't believe you. You know, I don't believe you. It's like, oh, I don't give a shit if you believe me or not. All I can tell you is that's what I saw. That's why I think this is sort of interesting for people to tell their stories, because there's so many like it, you know. I'm not going to try to debunk anything.
like-
well, what it really was a television show that popped up on your screen, and I that's not what I'm doing on this show.
Yeah, I'm the biggest critic of it though, because like it's got to be something psychological. Because my grandma wasn't standing there. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
Like I just can't explain why my mom saw it. I don't know.
Well, but
I
I mean,
don't
you
know.
saw it, so your mom saw it, right?
What's that?
Well, you saw it and your mom saw it, so that kind of means you both saw something, right?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I'm too skeptical with it. Like when I was younger, it bothered me a lot, but nowadays, like I just think it had to be something psychological. I don't know.
Yeah, well, so you both had psychological breakdowns at the exact moment, seeing the same thing. I don't think so.
I mean, that makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Well, I don't think so. I think that's like, what are the odds of that? Like a share? Yeah. Here's the thing: is people go, well, I don't believe in that, but I believe in shared, like dreams or something. Really? Well, how the hell is that possible? That's even weirder. I mean, really, a shared vision of something that never happened? Like, that's even weirder, right? I mean, how the hell did that happen? You know?
There's a term for that. Like, what is it? It's like Latin. It means the, like, dementia of two or something. I don't know. I don't remember what the actual term for it is.
Yeah.
But want to hear something weird about your balloon story that always stuck with me?
Yeah, what's that?
I believe you said that your brother was in Theta Chi.
Yeah.
My cousin that I was super close with my whole life, he was Theta Chi at Ohio State. I don't know why it stuck out to me, just because, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there you go. See? Theta Chi.
All right.
I actually had to get the hell out of there.
I'll let you grab that other collar.
Well, there isn't one, but yeah, it was like, being in a fraternity is a complete waste of time, everybody. Just letting you know, don't do it if you ever... It's like a thing where all it is, it's just a place to party, get some, maybe some friends, but it's like, well, when I was in the dorms, I had way better time because it was organic. Like, you actually met people and you sort of hung out with the people that you liked, and then that was more fun. And when you're in fraternity, you're sort of forced to be friends with people that you might not have ever been friends with. So, but anyways, I still remember the entire Theta Chi creed and all the different things you're supposed to remember. People are always shocked, like, how do you remember that crap? I'm like,
you were Theta Chi as well.
Yeah, actually, I joined there. I was there for about a year, and then I left the school, went to Oregon State. I couldn't deal with it. Everybody in the fraternity were saying shit like, well, my parents ended up suing the fraternity. Let's see, the university and the fraternity because the way it was almost like they promoted drugs. They didn't win any. It was really just they wanted to start an anti-drug sort of thing back then, 1986. But it was just it was a nightmare the way it was set up back then. It was just like almost promoting drugs. Oh yeah, everybody come to the party, do drugs. And I don't even know if that's how my brother. It was a choice that he made that he did drugs, but we don't even know if that's what killed him really, because his heart started beating funny, but he didn't have very much of anything in his system. Anyways, I just took this down a dark alley.
I didn't. I apologize.
No, I did. Yeah.
All right. Well,
all right. Well,
somebody else needs to call in. Claudia's got a good story.
Yeah.
Claudia, you should call in. I don't know. I don't even know if she has one. I was just doing that. I don't know. Maybe she does. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? All right. Well, good story. Don't be so skeptical on the ones because your mom backs it up. There you go. All right.
Yeah, but she's crazy too, so who knows? All right. Have a good show. I'll be watching.
Okay. All right. Have a good one. See you. So Cairo just admitted he's crazy because he said she's crazy too. Okay. And when he said that, then that's like, well, then he's admitting. Okay. I don't think so, but anyways, yeah, he was only 22 at the time. I was 20 when that happened. Yep, the lines are open, everybody. This show's for you guys to call in and tell your damn stories, okay? I can't believe you said damn stories. Well, that's too bad. All right. I think they're good. Hey, thanks, Michelle. Hey, let's see. I was looking at my newspaper.com. Look at that. A Paranormal Experience, 1979. Actually typed in Paranormal Experience. Yeah, look at that. It's that one ad. If you ever had a paranormal experience with ghosts or angels, seen or been in contact with a UFO, please send your story to, look at that, Paranormal Experiences. Shit, somebody thought of this back in 1994. That's hilarious. Maybe that's actually Art Bell's show. That's about when his show kind of started. You know? Although that goes to North Carolina. I don't know. Maybe that was just big back then. Yeah, he's the one I made sandwich. Where was my other brother, too? The Molassock Jeb. Let's see. I think it looks something like this. Something like that. Probably like mayo, lettuce. Not sure what A stood for. Olives, ketchup. Not sure what a J would be. There's something like that, though. Hey, you know what we could do is let's see if we can find the Roswell, 1948. Let's see. UFO Roswell, 1948. Yeah, about, I think it was called Flying Disc. Wasn't that like in June or something like that? Oh, there's a color. It didn't make the sound, but anyways, okay. All right, 407, you're on the air.
Hi, it's Michelle Nicholas again.
Oh,
okay.
You don't have another one,
This is one
do you?
I was gonna.
Oh,
Oh no,
boy.
this is just one more. This one is actually more very closer to my heart. My mother became suddenly ill due to problems that happened while she was in the hospital. And my sister had bought her a ring that she had always wanted, and it was just the most beautiful ring. And when my mom passed away 3 days afterwards, I got the ring. And a couple of years later, my sister was having a pool built in her backyard. And the pool was done, but the pavers hadn't been laid down, so it was just rocks and dirt around the pool. But my sister and I were playing in the pool, and we were hitting the ball back and forth. And when I went to hit the ball back to her, the ring flew off my hand.
Mm-hmm.
We searched and we searched and we searched the pool, the ground, everything, and I was very distraught. I was absolutely beside myself. My mother, outside of my children and my grandchildren, was my life. And my aunt, who is my mom's twin, she says, just relax and she'll show it to you. And I was just, I couldn't even talk right. I was crying. Well, as the night fell, we were still sitting out by the pool, and I just wanted to be left alone. I wanted to, at that moment, I just wanted to crawl under a rock. And I said, Mommy, please show me the ring. Please show me where it's at. And as I kind of glanced around, all the way on the other side of the pool to where the screen door on the porch opened, I saw something shiny. So I got up and I walked over, and mind you, there were no lights out there. So all I, went for was what I saw that was shining. And when I put my hand down on top of it, I grabbed and I had a handful of rocks, and there was my mom's ring.
Oh.
She showed me.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's another normal, like not the, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a ghost. And then the window opened and the wind came in. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, see, that's something you, how do you explain that to somebody? Other than you just did, but nobody can tell you, well, the sun refracted at the exact time, and, there wasn't, some bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, well, I'll let somebody else call in, but I wanted to share that. I was going to do it in the first place, but it kind of really hits me hard, and I didn't want to start crying on the phone. So, but I'm okay.
Well, good. Well,
all right, and again, I'm sorry for your loss. I really am, Gray. That's a very horrible thing that you had to go through, and God bless you.
Well, it did suck. It takes a long time to get over it, but now, I just when I think of him, but I'm not freaked out anymore or anything like that. But back then it was shitty. So, but thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
And thanks for calling. All right. Talk to you later. Have a good one.
Thank you, Greg. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was another interesting one where you just, it was weird. I didn't feel like there was anything paranormal about this, but I think a year after I got married to Chris, I lost my wedding ring. I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh crap, I'm just gonna get another one or something. But it just, it wouldn't even have the same meaning. And then I was out in the backyard sweeping up. I mean, it was like this pile of absolute chips of wood. I think our roof had been redone or something, and there was just crap everywhere. And I just looked in the middle of it, and there it was sitting there on the ground. I was thinking, what are the odds that I just saw that? I mean, it's like, it kind of matched the color. It's not really bright. And there it was, so I didn't have to go get a new one. I still have the original. It was just so weird to just see it in a pile of just crap. I mean, what the hell was it doing there? Anyways, look at this. I typed in flying disc in New Mexico, 1948. Look at all these things that popped up. See, they weren't calling them UFOs at the time. That's the thing. Wait, hold on, let me type something in. Actually, that was 1947. I was thinking that. That's why I went and looked that up. So let's try that. Get rid of 1948. Yeah, and so the Roswell incident was... Well, they're saying mid-1947, but there's actually an actual date of it. July... Well, I think that's almost says July 6th or something like that. There, I can't see it very well, but... Well, look at these, right here. This is July 9th. Look at that. New Mexico rancher, I think his name is Mac Brazel, if I remember right, is surprised at all the excitement created by his discovery. Get it, everybody? Roswell, rancher, something Brazel. Oh, so that, okay. It doesn't say Mac, but I think that is his name. The New Mexico rancher, who was originally thought to have found the nation's first flying disc, is sorry he said anything about it. See, the thing is, a lot of these people were talked to. See, it was on the radio, It came out on the radio and a newspaper article, and then the story got changed later to something else. Yeah, I actually believe in UFOs, you know. I mean, we know there are unidentified flying objects, right? That's something that is known, okay? And then if you watch that guy that was on CNN this year, man, I think another channel, and there was a Fox News guy, another person related to the same thing. After you watch that, you're kind of like, well, I think there is something out there. Brazil discovery was reported Tuesday afternoon by Lieutenant Warren Hout. Yeah, see, Walter, they call him Lieutenant Warren Hout, but I think he went by Walter later. Roswell Army Airfield Public Relations Officer, and definitely being one of the flying discs that have puzzled and worried citizens of 43 states during the past several weeks. 43 states. I thought we had, when do you mean 43? Wouldn't there have been more? Or maybe the paper only made it to those. The statement was later discounted by Brigadier General Roger Ramey. Yep, I've seen that too. The images of him. It's so weird. This is like back then. This is exactly the information. Yeah, see, they said it was a weather radar target, right? But just about 10 years ago, they said, oh, it was just crash dummies that they threw out of a... It's just bullshit. I mean, really, crash dummies? Here you're saying it was a weather radar target. Then... years later, now you're trying to explain how they found the actual occupants and say that those were crash dummies. You know, so which one was it? Yeah, well, apparently they said that they shipped some of the parts to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and then there's a guy named Colonel Corso who was responsible for the back engineering of a bunch of the stuff, and that's why there was these huge leaps in computer technology and things like that, they claim. But who knows, right? I mean, unless you're one of the people that know, you don't know. He described his find as consisting of large numbers of pieces of paper covered with foil-like substance and pieced together with small sticks, much like a kite, scattered with the materials over an area about 200 yards across, where pieces of gray rubber. All the pieces were small. At first I thought it was a kite, but we couldn't put it together like any kite I ever saw, he said. It wasn't a kite. Yeah, I don't know if the Brazos Ranch is there was another site they were saying, so I don't know. Anyways, it's interesting to see. Go back almost, you're literally 3 days after. What day of the week was this? So this is Wednesday, so that must have been, if it was Tuesday, it was the day before, right? So if you guys want to call in, call in. Wow, look how big this was. It took up the entire paper, different articles on it. Yeah, except here's the thing, that Walter Hout guy, watch this. Alright, the Walter Hout, this is the guy right there. That was the communications officer. And he actually wrote a sworn affidavit Oh, yeah, you need the number on the screen. Hold on. Yeah, so there's the number. A sworn affidavit, and he put stuff in there that's crazy. I mean, but he only would let you see it after he died. So what would be the purpose of that? He wasn't going to get fame or anything like that. Yeah, well, if you're show up to the show and you're gonna call in, just write the number down early. Okay, so I can move around instead of always having it on the screen every second. There it is. Yeah, so look at here's his sealed affidavit right here. Listen to this. My name is Walter G. Hote. I was born June 2nd, 1922. Give his address out. I am retired. In July 1947, I'm going to switch back over if you don't have the number. Too bad. In July 1947, I was stationed at the Roswell Army Air Base in Roswell, New Mexico, serving as the base public information officer. We just saw that in the article. I had spent the 4th of July weekend, Saturday the 5th and Sunday the 6th, at my private residence. And that makes sense because the 8th would have been Tuesday, and Wednesday was that article we just saw. At my private residence about 10 miles north of the base, which was located south of town. I was aware that someone had reported the remains of a downed vehicle by mid-morning after my return to duty at the base on Monday, July 7th. I was aware that Major Jesse Marcel, and he's the guy that actually came forward originally with this story, head of intelligence, was sent by the base commander, Colonel William Blanchard, to investigate. By late in the afternoon that same day, I would learn that additional civilian reports came in regarding a second site just north of Roswell. I would spend the better part of the day attending to my regular duties, hearing little, if anything, more. Okay, so this is actually a sworn affidavit that he created. Yeah. Right. What are you guys talking about? I'm trying to make out what you guys are saying. Oh, wow, you're from the same area, or? Yes, high strangeness. Strangeness, that's one of Art Bell's terms. Right. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Yep, I've talked about it many times. Right. I know that's what that is. I've mentioned it a million times on the show. Actually, I've told this before, but when I was a collector at a bank, I actually would look at what they did for a living, and then if they seemed to be somebody that might have an answer to some of these questions, I actually would ask the question. This was like 1992. All right, and one time I had somebody on that worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. She called in, and then I asked her, I said, hey, is it true that they actually have those lower levels and so forth? And she said, well, I can't answer that. Who is this? All right, I mean, it got kind of weird. And then I talked to, there was some air traffic controllers that I talked to, and they said, oh man, we see stuff all the time that we can't explain. And then there was one whose husband was a pilot in New Mexico, and I asked her, I said, hey, does he ever I mean, that's such a perfect job to be able to ask these questions. I said, hey, has he ever said he saw anything up there while he's flying his jets around? And she said, well, I can't answer that question. And I go, come on, just, anything. And she goes, well, they know that you'll be too scared of things you know nothing about. And I said, so he has seen things. And then she said, he's seen things you wouldn't believe. Right? So, I had a bunch of those. I had them all written down at one point. I don't know where that is now, but it was pretty crazy at the time. And that really kind of kept me going on that stuff. Yeah. So anyways, this document that I'm looking at right now on the screen was a sworn affidavit by the communications officer back, who was on the scene in 1947. And then before he died, he created this and he said, I only want this opened after I die. Okay, so he wasn't trying to gain fame, like this, become rich or famous, anything like that. Now, I guess you could become famous, but he wouldn't be rich and he wouldn't be able to enjoy the fame. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of credibility when people do deathbed, sworn affidavits or confessions only to be read after they die. So on Tuesday morning, July 8th, I would attend the regularly scheduled staff meeting at 7:30 a.m. besides Blanchard, Marcel, Captain Sheridan. I mean, he's going through all these people. Colonel James I. Hopkins, the operations officer, Major Patrick Saunders, the base adjutant, Major Isidore Brown, the personnel officer, blah, 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 blah. So it goes through. The main topic of discussion was reported by Marcel and Cavett regarding an extensive debris field in Lincoln County. So this isn't the rancher's property. 75 miles northwest of Roswell. A preliminary briefing was provided by Blanchard about the second site approximately 40 miles north of town. Samples of wreckage were passed around the table. It was unlike any material I had or have ever seen in my life. Pieces which resembled metal foil, paper-thin material I had or have ever seen in my life. Pieces which resembled metal foil, paper-thin yet extremely strong, and pieces with unusual markings along their lengths were handled from man to man, each voicing their opinion. No one was able to identify the crash debris. One of the main concerns discussed at the meeting was whether we should go public or not with the discovery. General Ramey proposed a plan which I believe originated with his bosses at the Pentagon. Attention needed to be diverted from the more important site north of town by acknowledging the other location. Too many civilians were already involved and the press already was informed. I was not completely informed how this would be accomplished. Yeah, and by the way, before Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, I think was called Wright Field at the time, back in the day. It didn't have the Patterson in there. Okay, so this is an affidavit that I'm reading here. You can believe it or not, but it seems like it's literally what he's saying. I mean, he's coming up with what he believes he saw and what happened. One of the main concerns discussed at the meeting was whether we should go public or not with the discovery. Okay, too many civilians were already involved and the press was informed. At approximately 9:30 a.m., Colonel Blanchard phoned my office and dictated the press release of having in our possession a flying disc. So the original Colonel Blanchard, he said, yep, we've captured a flying disc coming from a ranch northwest of Roswell and Marcel flying the material to higher headquarters. I was to deliver the news release to radio station KGFL and KSWS, and newspaper, the Daily Record and the Morning Dispatch. By the time the news had hit the wire services, my office was inundated with phone calls from around the world. Messages stacked upon my desk, and rather than deal with the media concern, Colonel Blanchard suggested that I go home and hide out. Before leaving the base, Colonel Blanchard took me personally to Building 84 and a B-29 hangar located on the east side of the tarmac. Upon first approaching the building, I observed that it was under heavy guard both outside and inside. Once inside, I was permitted from a safe distance to first observe the object just discovered north of town. It was approximately 12 to 15 feet in length, not quite as wide, about 6 feet high, and more of an egg shape. Lighting was poor, but its surface did appear metallic. No windows, portholes, wings, tail section, or landing gear were visible. Also, from a distance, I was able to see a couple of bodies under a canvas tarp. Only the heads extended beyond the covering, and I was not able to make out any features. The heads did appear larger than normal, and the contour of the canvas over the bodies suggested the size of a 10-year-old child. At a later date, in Blanchard's office, he would extend his arm about 4 feet above the floor to indicate the height. See, that's an interesting little side detail, right? That you wouldn't, it doesn't seem like if you were making something up that you would actually just sort of throw into your affidavit, right? But he actually remembered back how Blanchard held his hand out. Although those kinds of things make things seem more real, it also helps for me to make it seem like, wow, this is really something he remembers. At a later date, in Blanchard's office, he would extend his arm out about 4 feet above the floor and indicate the height. I was informed of a temporary morgue set up to accommodate the recovered bodies. I was informed that the wreckage was not hot, meaning radioactive. Upon his return from Fort Worth, Major Marcel described to me taking pieces of the wreckage to General Ramey, his office, and after returning from a map room, finding the remains of a weather balloon and radar kite substituted while he was out of the room. So that's exactly what Marcel said too. He was made to hold up shit that they didn't actually find. Okay. So this guy is corroborating that. I mean, if you knew the story, but so General Ramey's off. Let's just read this part again. Upon his return from Fort Worth, Major Marcel described to me taking pieces of the wreckage to a higher-up, General Ramey's office, and after returning from a map room, finding the remains of a weather balloon and a radar kite substituted while he was out of the room. Marcel was very upset over this situation. We would not discuss it again. I would be allowed to make at least one visit to one of the recovery sites during the military cleanup. I would return to the base with some of the wreckage which I could display in my office. I was aware 2 separate teams would return to each site months later for periodic searches of any remaining evidence. I am convinced that what I personally observed was some type of craft and its crew from outer space. I have not been paid nor given anything of value to make this statement, and it is the truth to the best of my recollection. This statement is to remain sealed and secured until the time of my death, at which time surviving family members will determine its disposition. Signed, Walter G. Hote. And this right here is exactly what you hope people that know shit do. So he left this letter to the family after he died. They opened it up the affidavit, and there is what it said, and they released it. So don't you think that's interesting? I mean, It could just be total bullshit that the guy came up, but it's amazing how it actually fits in with a lot of the stuff that's Marcel was saying. So you got so this is Walter Hote right here, this guy. And you can actually watch him on YouTube talking about things, but he didn't really, he had they were all told that, let's see, not told, they were all forced to secrecy during the time that they were alive, but he didn't care after he was dead, right? Why would he care? All right, so here's the part that you've all seen, this famous picture right here, right? So there's Marcel and Raimi right here. And then they replaced all this crap to put a photo out in the papers and say, oh, look, it was just a weather balloon, right? And this is Marcel right here, he's the not communication, the intelligence officer. I don't know who this guy is, but it looks like another guy holding it up. So to me, that's the best evidence. This case right here is always like the quintessential one to me. It's like, I know there's some other interesting ones out there, but this one's always been interesting to me. All right, so we're going to go back to, if anybody else wants to call with their paranormal experiences, that would be great. Yeah, well, what are you talking about, RV Park Adventures channel? That's what. He came here because everybody go check out the channel. Yeah. Let's see. Element 115. Okay. Hello. Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. There is no time to say goodbye. Dun, 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 dun. So that's it? No more stories? I don't want repeat callers either. I just want other people that have a story to call up and tell it. How about you, Terry? You got a story? You know, a personal paranormal experience? Something that you remember but you can't explain it? Hey, thanks, Ivy Rose. You've never seen any little green men, huh? Well, this isn't a night about little green men. You can tell your story. I just read that because nobody was calling in. No, you guys probably weren't even able to see what I was looking at. Anyways, this is Jesse Marcel right there, and you know, he's made to hold up the. Oh, look, yeah, it was just a weather balloon, everybody. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Yeah, maybe. Misery. I don't have anything against that. Yeah, I've had a couple I've told them numerous times on here. See, when I originally started the channel, I actually had, I would actually call people up, let them tell their story, and then I'd make a video of their experience. But I mean, it just was, they literally took forever to make. So I thought it'd just be better if people just told their stories. It doesn't add a ton to put all the like animations. I mean, it's interesting. They're cool looking, but yeah, Audrus is one of the videos that I made. What's that one? What did I call that one? All right, 406, you're on the air.
Hi, Gray. It's Robin.
Hey, Robin.
And I have Hey, how are you?
Just one. You got one story?
I got one.
Okay.
I'll tell you about my cousin's daughter. From the time she was able to talk, she always talked about her first mom and dad were killed in a fire. And as she got older, her vocabulary got even better, and she would talk about old names and just different people that she would have never had any contact through TV or anything. And on 9/11, she was 3 years old, and they had been out in the country, and they were coming back to the city. And she goes, "Mommy, where are all those people going?" And she pointed to the sky. And it wasn't till later that they got home and turned on the TV, and they found out about 9/11. And it's kind of spooky. They would walk in to her room, and she'd be talking to somebody, but nobody was there.
Yeah.
She's like 21, 22 now, so I don't know what she does now, but it's just really strange.
So she just pointed up at the sky, like
the sky. They were in the car, and she pointed up to the sky, and she said, "Mommy, where are all those people going?"
Oh, weird.
Like they were going to heaven or something. It was just, and they freaked out when they got home and they heard about 9/11.
Where was she at? Where was the kid? Where did this happen? I guess is what I want to know.
They were out in the country, and they were coming back, and they were in the car driving, and the little girl was in the back seat, and they hadn't had the radio on or anything, and she pointed out the window and said, "Mommy, where are all those people going?"
Yeah, but where did this take place? Like what state?
In Ohio.
Huh.
In Ohio.
Wow. And what time of day or?
It was, gosh, well, they were coming back in the morning, so it was in the morning sometime.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. And, she always said her first mommy and daddy died in a fire. And she gave detailed reports, what they look like, and I don't know, you can't explain it.
That must be kind of trippy. It'd be interesting if you could. I mean, it sucks not to be able to ask kids what they saw because they're too young. Like how old was this kid?
She was 3. She was 3, and her vocabulary is pretty advanced for her age.
I wonder if she remembers anything from that.
I don't know. But when I heard about it, it just freaked me out.
Well, I could see why.
Yeah. So, and you were talking about, I live right outside of Malmstrom Air Force Base here in Great Falls, Montana.
Yeah.
And one night I was at work about 1:30.
Well, see, this is another story. You got another story. See,
well, no.
Oh, yeah, it was. I knew it. You said I knew it. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Okay, and I was sitting there on my lunch break having a cigarette, in which I don't smoke anymore, but I saw something in the sky. I don't know what it was. It was black. It was shaped like a V, and it came from the base. Didn't have no lights. It didn't make no sound. And I was with a friend. She was another coworker, and she was having her break. And we just looked at each other and just like, we didn't see nothing. In Great Falls area, surrounding areas, we've had several cows that have been found dead, dissected. No explanation for it.
Yeah, man, the cattle mutilation. Yeah. Okay, now we're getting into some weirdness here now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think sometimes Maelstrom has been into stuff. You know, they do a lot of missile work, and you just don't know. But
Yeah.
it's scary.
All right. Well, that is. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
yeah. I mean, I think people see UFOs. I mean, I remember when I was, in New Mexico. When I was a kid, I saw something. I mean, our whole family, we pulled over and saw this little sort of disc thing go into the clouds, and we never, who knows what the hell that was, but we all saw it. So.
Well, you talk to pilots, and they see stuff that they can't explain.
Yeah, and they don't want to say it sometimes because they don't want to be looked at like some crazy person.
Right, exactly.
But see, I bet you in the Air Force, they really don't think they're crazy because they know that there's shit out there, like the higher ups. So they should have a little bit more guts to just say what they saw.
My dad was in security. Well, he's security police, and he had really high clearance, like crypto clearance. I don't know what they call it now.
Mm-hmm.
And he never talked about what he did. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He died in 2009, but he never talked about. So I'm sure he saw stuff, and he was stationed at Wright Pat.
Yeah. Well, you ask him if there was, those deep down levels down there. Looks like I have sunburn.
Yeah, there's something going on with our military, but they're all sworn to secrecy, or they end up dead if they say something.
That's right.
So.
All right.
Well, I will let you get to any more calls. Thanks, Gray.
Thank
you. I love your show.
Oh, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right, bye.
Bye.
Ah, crap. All right, 205, you're on the air.
Hello, Gray. This is Alicia.
Hello.
When I worked at Children's Hospital in Birmingham, we had like an office down the road, about 2 blocks away from the actual hospital, and I worked on a flight team. And we had a sleep room in this office, and so like one night, all the other crew was out, and I was there for backup, and I was asleep in the sleep room, and I had the door open. So when they came back from that trip and were bringing their supplies in, they shut the door to the room that I was in, and I jumped about the bed. I'm like, "Don't shut me up in here." And they're like, "Well, we were just because we had lights on and we're making noise. We didn't want to wake you." And I'm like, "No, I want the door open. Don't shut me up in there." And I knew they were going to laugh at me, so I had not told people, but I had been having, I guess, nightmares or something, a haunting. That there were these kids, and I knew that one little blonde girl came and said, "The other kids won't let us play. Can you help?" And anyway, when they opened the door, or when they shut the door on me, and I got up and said that, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of spooks me in there. And the other girl that would just come back from the trip, "Is it the kids?" And I'm like, "What?" "Is it the kids? Did you see kids?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." So I'd never told her. She had never told me. No one had ever said anything about this. It's just she knew when I said that she said, "Yeah, I don't like it in there either. That's why I always sleep out here on the couch."
Well, it sounds like Audra's story. Audra had these 2 kids in her. So it would just show up. They were like ghosts in her house. That's the one called the video called.
We blamed it on the cancer children.
Yeah.
Because the office that was next to ours is Camp Smile a Mile, which I think they do stuff for like children with cancer. And of course ours is not like we worked in them all the time. It's probably the kids were tormenting us in there, because they tormented us everywhere else. But it turns out one of the other girls had said something about it, and at this time I fixed it, and it's just working on your mind. It's like, okay, I went and got some holy water from the Catholic Church, then some anointing oil from another church, And we just did a little ceremony in there,
Jeez.
just to, which I mean, you know, it's just a mind game, make you feel good, you know, make you think you did something. But yeah, it was kind of weird that that was something that nobody ever talked about. And because we were all thought we were just having, you know, bad dreams or that kind of thing. So I thought that was freaky. And no, I cannot explain it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's one of those things you can't explain. Something you saw, but how do you explain it? That's the whole point. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I figured that was along the lines of, this is the first time I've watched you on this show. And I thought that kind of fit because I might be from Alabama and I might not sound very smart, but I usually do all my facts and my logic and I just can't.
Yeah.
You know, how that manifested to two different people for, I mean, we weren't even, I mean, she worked a shift opposite from me. We didn't even have contact with each other usual, except for when we had to do backup things.
Yeah.
So we didn't work ourselves into a frenzy over this, but it was pretty weird because it went on for a while. I know at least a month.
Well, what did they look like, the kids?
I think there were some kids they were just making lots of noise, just rambunctious kids. But there were a couple of them just looked evil. But the little blonde girl looked almost, it's a little Kelsey German, you know, blonde hair, blue eyed little girl, but she was, I mean, I can see her plain as day now. It's just like she was transparent, but you could tell the, you know, the shape and form. It wasn't just like, oh, this blur. It was, you know, like somebody that's caught in the beam me up Scotty thing halfway through.
Oh, like the transporter.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're doing that, they're kind of starting to show up and they're in the limbo.
Right.
So yeah, we just thought that it was just the thing that the ones like, you know, these kids are being mean to us, you know, they won't let us play. And so it was just kind of along the lines of, okay, kids, go away. Here's some holy water. And, you know, it was just like, anything we could think of. I mean, if I had known about sage back then, we'd have been doing that too. But it was just weird.
Well,
I'll let you go on.
Well, thanks for the calling in, telling your story. It's on the record now. It's on the record.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, see you. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Getting a bunch of stories tonight. Lots of unexplained things. Like I said, that's the whole point, right? I don't know about that. My first video that I made on the case was called, I think, Begone, or after mine was Begone Shadow Man. And holy water worked, and that guy didn't believe in that shit at all. Okay, Paul Yowler, I think it's his name. He didn't believe in that at all. He was like, forget this shit. And there was a shadow thing he had on his wall, a creature moving around. It was weird. And so then he had his mom came over and put the holy water around in the house. He didn't believe in that crap at all, but never came back again. So, yeah, I mean, who's not skeptical? Here's the thing is, if you don't see it for yourself, then you're skeptical. And I haven't seen it, so I'm skeptical. All I'm telling you is if you go watch Begone Shadow Man, and you'll hear him tell his story, I 100% believe that he saw what he saw and that his mother did what she did, and I believe that's his experience. That's why we call it personal paranormal experiences. Although I think my channel now is just called I think it's just called Paranormal Experiences, because that way we can talk about, any paranormal experience. I could do shows about a topic, and it's not my personal experience. So even though it says up there right now, personal paranormal, doesn't it say that on my channel now? Let me see. I think I changed that a while ago. It's called it's just called Paranormal Experiences now, because that way I can do a story on Roswell if I wanted to, or a ghost story and make a video on it, or just cover something like that. Like I could do the same sort of thing that I do on my Gray Hughes Investigates channel. And here's the thing, everybody: if you're coming here and you do the same sort of thing that my show's doing, don't spend all your time commenting over and over again just so somebody has to say your name and go, oh wow, let me go check that one out. That happens in the true crime community all the time too, or it used to. All the newbies would come in, they hang out on your show so that people see your name and go to your channel. Okay, it's like, just have a little bit more class. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. RBNKNRBN. Yeah, the phone lines are open. Yeah. Oh yeah, Rob. That was Robin. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want multiple. The same story is told over and over again. Okay, wow. So now Robin's saying she had her legs kicked out by a ghost and she went flying. Okay, come on. Yeah, my thing is I like the stories that are, well, I guess it doesn't really matter what I like. It's whatever the hell story you want to say. But the ones that really interest me, that keep my attention, are the one-off things that are not like all the other ones over and over again. Well, I didn't either, but I just put together RBN, and then there was a Robin that called in. Oh, wow. "406, you're on the air."
Hi, Gray. It's Robin again.
Oh,
I know
boy.
you don't believe ghosts, but I'm telling you, and I don't tell this story very often because people think that it's crazy. I started working in 2007 at a assisted living facility, and I had 12 residents that I took care of, and I worked the 11 to 7 shift at night by myself. And from the very beginning, I always felt like something was watching me. We had cameras, but that wasn't it. So one night, I went to the bathroom, went over, washed my hands, and was walking back out. I can't explain it. Something kicked the legs right out from underneath me, and I went flying. I landed the opposite way against the wall. There was a hairdryer with those big cast iron legs, and I landed on that. And I ended up breaking my tailbone, but the physical therapist that I saw after said that it was physics. There's no way I could have landed like that. And when it happened, I just sat there for like 10 minutes, like, what the heck just happened?
Crazy.
It was so real.
I didn't say I never said I didn't believe in that there's, I mean, I don't have an opinion on if ghosts are real or not.
I mean, I just don't
like how everyone has, maybe it's just how common it is, but people go, oh, I was sitting in my living room, it was dark out, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something, but then when I turned my head, it wasn't there. And then it's just sort of like the same one over and over again. I guess maybe that means, wow, the same thing happens to a lot of people. But I'm not saying, I never said that I don't think that that it's possible that there's ghosts out there. you know.
And everybody that I took care of that was in the stages of dying, they all saw the same thing, a little girl. They all would talk about, you see that little girl in the corner?
Mm-hmm.
And, I went with it, yeah, it's all right. You're going to be okay. She's not here to hurt you. It was freaky. But after that happened to me, then I didn't get weird feelings anymore, like something was watching me. So I don't know, maybe the ghost was
Well, that's
testing
more.
me.
I think what's more interesting is what you just said a second ago about how a lot of the people that you've seen that are dying, they seem to say, "Hey, do you see that little girl over there?" Like, how many people do you think is? Well, how many people? Well, what I want you to tell it accurately. It sounds like you're kind of skipping on. So you have these people that have, when you live in the assisted living places and so forth, people are dying and they're gonna. Usually they die in there, or like a CNA. Like my wife is a CNA.
Yeah, that's what I was, a CNA.
Right, you're always taking care of the really sick people. So the thing is some of these people died, right? But before they died, they saw something, or what?
Yeah, they would be like maybe the night before they died, they'd be in their bed, and they're dying, and they'd say, that little girl over there. And I believe they saw something. And it wasn't in the same room. There were different rooms that, different people died in. And it wasn't like one right after the other. It'd be like, maybe 2 months down the road, another one would die. And they would see the same little girl. I don't know. It was weird.
See, that's interesting right there, because now that's a whole bunch of different people seeing something.
Yeah, I believe there was something there. I just, I don't know what it was, but they saw it. I really believe they saw it.
Well, cool. All right. Well, I got another call that came in.
Okay, I'll let you go. Thanks, Gray.
Thanks for the other story. All right. Have a good one.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
You too.
All right. Oh. All right. 812.
Hi, it's Rita. Okay.
Rita?
My story is I was driving to work one day. There's 2 lanes on my side, 2 lanes on the opposite side. I'm driving down the road. All of a sudden, I see this real thick white fog. And I'm driving along, but I can see everything plain. But I can still see this real thick white fog. All of a sudden, it's like I'm driving in the middle of the road, and on each side of me is cars and trucks and 18-wheelers, and they're all smashed in like a big chain reaction wreck. And that lasted for about a half a mile. And then I drive the rest of the way to work. Well, about 2 weeks later, I'm watching the news. There was a 100-car pileup in California due to fog.
Wow. So you think you had like a premonition?
Yeah, I guess it must have been like a premonition. But it was 2 weeks later, and it was a 100-car pileup. It was trucks, cars, 18-wheelers, and everything. And all I could see was all the smashed up cars. I couldn't tell you where in the world it was at, because it was just like a close-up, You couldn't see license plates or nothing, because everything was so crammed up and smashed up, And the
were the circumstances similar?
It was the exact same thing on the news.
Wow.
They showed it on the news. It was the cars were the exact. Of course, the fog was gone, but it was the exact same thing on the news. 100-car pileup. I mean, I didn't know how many cars it was when I was seeing it, driving, because it was just on both sides of me. Like I was driving down the middle of the road with it on both sides of me, but in reality, I was in my right lane and I could see everything. There wasn't no chance I was going to wreck into the car in front of me or nothing, because I could see all that.
Where did the wreck take place?
It was on a highway in California. I don't remember where. This was about 6-7 years ago. It was a 100-car pileup because of the fog.
Okay. Because Jay Case just said, was it 1991 I-5? But the thing is I-5 goes through California. But that was in 1991. You're talking about something like 7 years ago, right? So for a minute there, I was getting excited because I was reading what he wrote. But
yeah, it wasn't that. I mean, it was several years ago, but not 91. It was because I've not been working now for about 3 years, but it was a few years before my job ended, but I was on my way to work, and it was just so strange. And like I say, a couple weeks later, I heard it on the news. I seen it on the news, 100-car pileup. It was somewhere in California. I didn't catch the name of the highway, but I was like, oh man, that is so weird, you know.
Interesting.
But my theory behind seeing things like that is that, you know how on a computer, no matter what you put on the computer and you delete it, it's still floating around out there somewhere in space, time, whatever. I think that a lot of things in the world are just like that.
Yeah.
It is, it's floating around out there. Maybe it's a time thing. I don't know. But anyway, that's my story.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, as like metadata.
Yeah.
That's what Straight to Heart said. Yeah, my favorite word. If you say metadata, boy, your credibility goes through the roof. Okay. All right. Well, hey, thanks for calling in. Good
Thank
story. A premonition.
Bye.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hey, by the way, this has nothing to do with it, but it made me think of drunk driving with the 100-car pileup. I'm not sure if I said 100-car pileup. I'm not sure if I said this on the show, but the other show. But I think that that if you're a drunk driver, that you should be forced to drive for 5 years at least a smart car after you've been convicted of drunk driving. So you've been convicted of drunk driving. Now you have to drive a smart car for at least 5 years, and then maybe they do they look back into it after 5 years. And then maybe you can go back if you've proven that you've quit doing it. Because that way, while you're driving the smart car and drinking and driving, you will get killed the second you ram into anybody. Nobody else will get injured at all, because smart cars weigh like 5 pounds. So you're going to be driving down the road, get wasted, slam into a car, and get killed. Because it seems like almost all of the drunk drivers out there drive SUVs and trucks. And they live, and everybody else gets killed because they're goddamn idiots, all right? So what I say is, after you get drunk driving, you have to drive a smart car. You have to purchase it, and you have to drive it, and that's all you get to drive. If you drive anything else, you're put in prison for 10 years. You get to drive a smart car. That's it. And if you drink and drive, you will be toast, and that's it. Everyone else will be nice and fine, and you'll get crushed. And I love the idea. That's my idea, and I'm sticking to it. All right, good. Of course, I don't think smart cars would like it. They go like this. Oh, wow. Well, what are you doing? You're saying our cars aren't safe? So they wouldn't like it, but you could just mandate. They'd get a lot of sales because there's a lot of drunk idiots out there. Yes, Angela, the drunk drivers are selfish. You got that. You got that right. Yeah, so make sure that they drive cars that are not safe at all if they get in a wreck due to drunk driving. Yeah, I'm just saying what I'm saying, Ivy. Yeah, we've all heard those a million times. I want my version. Yeah. So yes, I think here's the thing: is I want them to drive drunk with the smart car. Okay, it'd be great to eliminate the drunk drivers from the world. I mean, I'm doing a little bit tongue in cheek there, but you know. Yeah, wow. Hey, everybody, look at Super Mean Sadie. She was really clever there. She said, hey, drunk, smart car can still hit somebody while they're walking, as if nobody had thought of that already. I'm just talking about the car wrecks that kill people in the other cars, okay? That's what I'm talking about. And if you put them in a smart car and they normally almost always hit other cars and kill a totally innocent family. So let's at least start there, okay? There we go. Yeah, I don't really care actually where you live or anything. I'm just telling you what I want to do. All right, that's exactly right. There you go. Made to be test drive dummies. I like it. Yeah, we'll go look up a smart car. Yeah, let me show you. I'll show you one on the screen here, just so everyone get a visual here. Every time I see one of those, I go, is that person nuts? Okay, look. Okay, see that right there? Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. Right there, look. That's tiny. These things, you're in one of those, and you get drunk and you ram yourself into another SUV. You are not going to be living. Okay, right there. That's my opinion. Okay. All right. So, anyways, that's my thought on that. Yeah, maybe even take out any sort of protective measures that are in there. Make them drive really conservatively. Yeah. I know, when you see those on the freeway, you're just like, what are you doing with that thing? What's going on? Anyways, I don't know how long this personal paranormal was going to be tonight, but we had some good calls in there for damn sure. Oh, oops. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a lot of times I say stuff and I don't need other sort of, well, what about the, we already know that part, okay? Just let sort of just think about what I'm saying sometimes, I get all the other, everybody goes through all the other stuff. Oh, yeah. They might run into pedestrians, they might do this, they might do that. What I care about is that I want the drunk drivers will always find a way to drive drunk. So if you make sure that they can only drive in cars that ensure that they die when ramming into somebody else, then let's do that. Cool. Ivy Rose. I guess I wonder what we should do is when I'm going to do a show, like we can put it in all the different groups out there, and then people can call in. Yeah. Right. Well, what you should do, Misery, is join the chat with your it's weird because it's like, I don't know. I don't want to refer to your... It seems like a lot of times when people have a channel and they're doing something, people that do a similar thing show up because they want people to go to their channel, right? And maybe I don't really care, I guess. Yeah, well, they are allowed back on the road. I wouldn't allow them to drive for a year first, and then once they go back on, they can only drive a smart car unless they want to wait 5 years, and then they can go back to their other car. I mean, some of these people when they're driving are just so absolutely wasted. I mean, I watched this video the other day. The guy's driving down the road and he's just way over to the side, and then regular people, citizens, surrounded the vehicle with their vehicles and sort of forced him off the road without actually hitting him. Somehow he pulled over, and they just said, "Hey, you know," and they called the cops, and they showed up and that kind of thing. Yeah. I see. Yeah. Yep, that's tiny little Blue up in the corner. He's still on the show. He likes to sleep a lot, I'll tell you that. My favorites? Yeah, there's just so many of them. I mean, I don't really, it's been so many months since I was doing the stories before, I can't really... I mean, there was a couple, I remember... Well, I mean, the stories that I did for the videos, those were interesting to me. You should go watch those. There's about 6 actual videos, not live shows. Yeah, Blue does that sometimes. He'll be like whining, and then I look over and he was sleeping. I mean, what's he dreaming about? Yep, I've always been interested in, UFOs and things like that. Forever. I kind of remember a little bit of this. I flash back every once in a while. We had this name of this ghost. It seemed like there was this little ghost or something that I think we called it like Barney or Bonnie or something like that. I sort of just remember that just now. Like we would say something. That's weird how it's sort of popping back, but was it a B, bar, a bar, Barney, John, J, John, Tom, Tim, did it start with a Tim, Yeah. Does his name start with a... Yeah, I'm gonna be a psychic right now. Is there anybody... Listen. I'm hearing somebody's father with a T. It starts with a T. It's coming to me. What is it? There's somebody's dad's name starts with a T out there. A T or a B kind of. It's either a T or a B. Somebody's father out there? Anybody with a T or a B? Anybody? Anybody at all? Come on. Oh, yeah. What is it? Okay. So what is it? What's the name, Ivy? What's his first name? T or B? What is it? Right. That's the thing. That's what we were talking about the other night. Like, why can't you just... What's the shirt idea that we had, by the way? It was something like, just tell me the name, ghost. It's like you got these idiotic ghosts. Look at... Are ghosts... Do they tease... Okay, let me ask you this. If you were a murdered person and you're a ghost... Would you come back and when somebody's literally trying to get the name of the killer, are you going to say, well, it starts with something that looks a little bit like a T, but it could be maybe an F if it has the... No, you're going to say the freaking name, all right? Okay, Terry. Yeah. All right. It was like a B or a T. Yeah. I mean, look at... There's T's, Tom's, Tim's, Terry's. How about this one? I think I see a J. There's a father out there. I see him holding his chest. His first name started with a J. He was a little bit overweight. Balding hair, glasses. Is that ringing a bell? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Why would they all be assholes, though, when they become ghosts? There isn't one ghost that's ever said, oh, that's Jim Smith. Call the cops. And then the police run over to Jim Smith's house and he's got blood all over his hands, okay? I've never seen that yet. Hasn't happened yet. I don't know who that is. I don't even know what you're talking about, Robin. You just sort of randomly threw out a statement out of nowhere. See what? Let me ask you this: when you type something in, make sure that there's context for everybody else to understand what you're talking about. When there's been no previous reference, like if I went like this, let's get this. Oh, and then she rolled on the beach for an hour and a half. It was hilarious. Okay? Wouldn't you then go, well, what are you talking about? Well, I see that a lot in the chat. Comments that have nothing to do with anything. Right. Well, how would I know that? Yeah. Yeah, there's just so much of that sometimes. It's almost like they're thinking out loud, typing something in, but there's no context for anybody else to understand what they're saying. Oh, okay, cool, but we wouldn't have known that though, Robin. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe it's girl code, I guess. I don't know. Oh, look, a squirrel. Hey, that's from Caddyshack. Ooh, look. My arm. So that shit is not harmless. No idea what that means, Alicia. Wouldn't that be great if... let's see. Oh, I guess you're right up there. Let me see your first one. I heard someone mention a psychic today, and it really pissed me off. She told a grieving mother that her daughter's case could never be solved. Family said that after mother was told this, she gave up. Yeah, well, that's That's kind of a dumb thing for a psychic to say, because usually they're looking for constant payouts. Like, for example, in the Libby and Abby case, there's one that works with Carrie, Libby's mom, and she's been doing this shit for 2 years with her. And it's like, what kind of a psychic are you? How come it... 2 years? How come you don't have the guy's name, social security number at this point? Where, you know, exactly where he lives? How, what, you know, I mean, it's just a joke. Why would you ever trust somebody like that? What are they doing different than anybody else? Nothing. Okay? So the reason I'm dissing on psychics is because it's not what we're talking about here. So you guys all have the paranormal experiences. Psychics are leeches of society. Same thing as the people who do the, you know, the EVP readings, that kind of shit. Just, it's ludicrous. But let me ask you this. If you have a psychic working with a family for over a year, or 2 years, and they haven't come up with who the killer is yet, why are you still working with that psychic? Oh, that's kind of weird. Jay just said he had a one-nighter after the U2 concert. Never saw her or spoke to her again. 10 years later, a knock on my door. My dog was hit by a woman at midnight, no less. The woman was my date 10 years ago. I don't think they... See, but they a lot of times they get that stuff right. Because there's a technique they use. Yeah, I mean, I guess if they set a private secret type thing, that would be kind of interesting. But you'll never get one of those. Trust me. Yeah, I mean, John Lorden and I agree totally on the whole psychic thing. It was interesting, that one story the other day where they deployed a psychic in the case really quickly because that psychic was instrumental in solving some other case. You know, it's like, really? Come on. Jeez. Basically, here's what a good psychic is. Me. If the same investigations that I do on the cases that we've covered, where we're pretty accurate, the ones that are going on, the live ones, like 80%, I would say. If I pretended I was a psychic that whole time and derived what I was researching and worded it in a way that led people to believe that this was just conjured up in my own mind, man, I would be a great psychic. See? But I would never do something like that. It sucks. Yeah, I know you hoped that, Robin, but yeah. I'm just reading some of the comments. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't really have much more to talk about tonight, so I think that's going to be about it. That's 2 hours of personal paranormal experiences? Yeah, there might be. Maybe I'll save that for the next time. I'm kind of I'm gonna go watch some TV tonight. I'm sleepy. Well, I haven't done the show for a few months, but I think I might bring it back again. I don't know how often. Maybe once a month or twice a month or something like that. I don't know. It was interesting. Yeah, you too, Stephanie. All right, everybody. So thank you for showing up tonight. I think there was one super chat by Ivy Rose. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And let's see. We don't do flybys on this one, so. That's it. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for all the interesting stories on the Personal Paranormal channel. Although it's now called Paranormal Experiences. Ooh, in the ghosts. Ooh, he's back on the air. What happens if I do like that? Alright, anyways. Thank you guys for all showing up tonight. That was fun. And I guess I can still say, as I always say, until next time, everybody, be safe out there.